You know, technically this feels like a Sentai Winter movie. Just saying. And I love it. Platonic Saber! Ryu gave the call as the sword materialized in Jet Icarus' hand. The robot charged at Tronza and the two clasped swords. The two in a grip, Tronza pushed himself off and tried to fire a laser at it, only for the laser to get blocked by the wing shield. Then Jet Icarus fired his shock puncher at Tronza, hitting him square in the nose. Meanwhile, Daisuzen and Griffozor clasped swords and traded punches. Daisuzen did saw airsy beams from his eyes and forehead of the beast, causing Griffozor to stagger back in pain. While Griffozor was clutching himself, Daisuzen ran up to him and slashed him across the chest with the God Horn, causing him to spark. Lamy, who was busy fighting with Dragon Caesar, heard her husband groaning in pain and ran to his aid. "Darling! Ah!" shrieked Lamy, as Dragon Caesar hit her in the back of his Dragon Hurleys. "Geki, we have to end this. Hurry!" "All right. Zutegata!" Geki commanded. With the command, Dragon Caesar's entire chest and lower body split apart as his arms moved upward. Then Daisuzen attached himself under Dragon Caesar, creating the Zyuti Daisuzen. "If you guys are going to do that, then we'll do one of our own," Ryu said. "Gatai! Great Scramble!" Jetman called out in unison as both Jet Icarus and Jet Garuda briefly touched hands to straight, as both started to come apart. Then Jet Icarus' torso and arms attached to Jet Garuda's arms and legs, and Garuda's head attached to Jet Icarus, creating a helmet. "Gatai! Great Icarus!" Gosar and Lamy then scurried over to each other in fear. "Empire attack!" the Zyurangers called. "Empire attack!" Sute Daisuzen repeated, bringing a ball of energy with a Z on it. "Battle Mesa!" Jetman called as Airzy formed for the burn insignia. Both mechs fired their attack, forming one big flashy Airzy ball to hit Grisor and Lamy point blank. So easily enough, they managed to survive and teleport back to Pandora's palace. "No!" Pandora grunted until she heard Tapa and Bookpot calling to her. "Pandora-sama, we have the child," Tapa told her as he and Bookpot held Toshi in their hands. "Excellent, excellent," Pandora praised him. "Now, begin the ceremony." Pandora then began to chant. Suddenly, 12 other children started to appear, tied up on top of the shield. "Now, the child," Pandora instructed, and Topa and Bookpot threw him in. Pandora then continued to chant as the shield started to glow, and the children all started to gasp and shock and worry. The children themselves started to glow as a dark flowing stream of light shot up into the sky, creating dark clouds and blanketing the whole quarry in darkness. As this continued, a figure started to form in the stream and take shape. Soon, the figure stepped out of the stream, and both Zyurangers and Jetman gasped hard at the sight before them. Satan Frankie, large horns, skull face, ribcage, and body looking like skin and muscle had been ripped out. Seeing Frankie let out a roar, and Pandora just cackled. "Satan Frankie!" Dan called out, pointing his finger at it. "It's so disturbing," Rita said, shivering. Satan Frankie roared, and then charged it to take Daisuzen and Great Icarus. "Mina, prepare for impact!" Geki warned the others, and Satan Frankie slashed both Zaite Daisuzen and Great Icarus. Zaite Daisuzen charged at Satan Frankie and tried to punch him, but Satan Frankie shoved him back and fired a laser at him. Great Icarus took to the skies and tried to get a sneak attack in, but Satan Frankie grabbed Great Icarus and threw it to the ground. Great Icarus got up and fired his bird mazer at the beast, but Satan Frankie exhorted and fired right back. "Ryu, let's try combining our powers again," Geki suggested. Ryu agreed. So Zaite Daisuzen fired its Empire attack, and Great Icarus its bird mazer. The two attacks combined hit Satan Frankie, but they had no effect on it. Pandora laughed. "Zyuranger, gentlemen, no matter what you do, you'll never defeat Satan Frankie. Prepare to meet the end." Pandora told them, laughing. While this was happening, Tronzo was soft sitting on the sidelines, watching the battle. He then turned to the fallen children, all pale, seeing as their life force was being drained from them. However, once Tile started to move, Choshi. "Nisan, Choshi uttered, trying to talk. "Nisan, you had to stop this." Tronzo just looked at the kid with an almost mocking look. "Nisan," Choshi repeated over and over again. As Choshi was doing this, Tronzo started getting a pain in his head. "Nichan." Toshi repeated as Tronza clutched the back of his head, grunting. While this was happening, memories of all the time him and Toshi had spent together started flashing in his mind. Also classic with Bandora brainwashing. Tronza started sweating and grabbing his head as all of his memories rushed back into him until he fell to the ground screaming. It was caught everybody's attention, including seeing Frankie, who was busy stomping Great Icarus. I remember everything, Tronza shouted at the sky. He then turned to glare at Bandora. Bandora! He growled and got up, sword in his hand, charged at seeing Frankie, pushing him off at Great Icarus and slashing him furiously. Tronza then grabbed Satan Frankie by the neck, got behind him, and stabbed his sword through Frankie's stomach. Jetman, Zyuranger, destroy him now! Both teams were taken back at this. Tronza, if we do, you might... But Ryu never got a chance. Tronza interrupted him. Doesn't matter. I won't be controlled by anyone. Not Bandora, not humans, not anyone, he told him. Zyurangers, it's time both Dark Waves and Gaitron energy combine. Zaito told him, King Brachyon! Zaito called as a white Brachiosaurus-like creature appeared from the forest, appeared at the battle. Jetman, combine with King Brachyon! Zaito instructed him. Can we really do that? Well, Ryu, if you give me a few minutes and actually give me, Great Icarus and also get me King Brachyon, I will actually try to see if I can fit King Icarus inside King Brachyon. Because you'd be surprised at what other Sentai teams can actually fit inside the Megazord, fit inside Titanus. It's amazing. No, really, you can actually fit the Ninja Falcon Megazord inside Titanus. I tried. I also think I might be able to fit in my SPD Megazord in there. I'll have to check. He then turned to his teammates who nodded at him. Alright, Gatai! Kyoko Scramble! Both Great Icarus and King Brachyon's eyes started flashing as King Brachyon lowered his neck and slid his tail cannons forward. Great Icarus then jumped into the air, lowered himself into King Brachyon. Gatai! Ultimate Icarus! Jetman sounded in unison as the explosion went off in the background. Seeing this, Zutai Daijujin disassembled himself into regular Daijujin, and Dragon Caesar returned back to normal. Then Daijujin disassembled himself into the individual guardian beasts and stood around Ultimate Icarus. Tetra Boy! Ryu called out. He was meant to hold battle on the sidelines. Tetra Boy then jumped to the air, transformed into Tetra Buster. Mina! Ready! Fire! Ryu called out as Ultimate Icarus and all 6 guardian beasts fired various energy blasts at both Satan, Frankie, and Tronza through the sword. Both Satan, Frankie, and Tronza screamed in pain as overwhelming blasts of energy started crackling. Farewell, Choshi. Tronza says both he and Tronza fell down to the ground and exploded in a gigantic fireball. Normally both teams would be cheering, but both were silenced as a man sacrificed himself to save the world. No, Bandora screamed. Then he snarled at the 2 teams. Done, you Zyuranger! Jetman! I'll get you back for this! As he says, he teleported back to Bandora Palace. Tobat took the lead and teleported too. Book was confused and not having been paying attention to what was going on. Turned around and saw Ultimate Icarus and the Guardian Beast looking at him. Hey, wait for me! Bookback says he teleported too. All of a sudden, Ultimate Icarus started to shake, and Jetmen found themselves being thrown out their mech as a time hole into the sky, and as the Jetman sayings, Jet Garuda and Tetra Boy flew through it. What the? How the? Raita stammered, but Kiori put a hand on her shoulder. Raita, they had to go back to their time period. They still have many more battles against the fire to go through, Kiori told him. All had returned to normal now that Satan and Frankie had been defeated again. The skies cleared up, and all the children are back to normal. It's a perfect sunny day, but no one was enjoying it as Zyurangers, except Burai, who mysteriously disappeared after the battle. Ryu asked Geki about it, but he said it was too complicated. Jetman, Barza, Isa, Toshi, and all the Nishori Mental Institution staff were out in the field, standing in front of a homemade cross, paying respect to Tronza. On the cross was a piece of paper that said, Patient, 1-1792, age unknown, birthday unknown, birthplace unknown, name unknown. The 2 teens plus Boshi thought it was best not to tell anyone who he really was. It's a shame he had to die. Ryu said to himself, he could have been a real contributing member to society when he got better. Now Pandora had been stopped, the 2 teams started spending time together. Okay, You people listening to this, you have a choice. You can either play My Heart is an Egg from the Jetman series, the ending theme to Zyuranger, or, as I'm about to play in my head, Let's Fly from Gotcha Man. Barza was outside the Sakura Mansion, wearing the flowers of civilian clothing, while Io was practicing crying in key. Elia, you need a sparring partner? Barza asked, putting down the water bucket. Are you sure you are down to this, Barza? Aya asked as Barza got in a pose. He charged her as he grabbed her arm and flipped him over her shoulder. Barza, are you alright? Yes, he helped him get up. Raita, Dan, and Boy were at Raita's farm, tending the crops, while Boy was in the kitchen cooking them lunch. Having everything down, Boy put his noodle dish into 3 bowls and brought him outside. Dan had declined, but Raita took his gratefully. Licking his lips, Raita took a mouthful of the noodles to his mouth and started munching, happily until his chewing started to slow down. He spit out the noodles. Boy had no idea why everybody hated his cooking. Well, he hated some of his dish himself. While helping Raita spit out Boy's dish, Dan casually said, Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask Akko on a date. See ya, Dan said, running off. Raita tried to follow him, only to fall into the ground. The girls were going out shopping at fairy malls, trying out fairy clothing. Kaori was paying for all of May's clothes. Kaori probably owns some of those stores. What are you talking about? See ya. To the shop on Knife Street, Kaori told her butler. Yes, Miss Kaori, Zia replied. Hey, you guys, you want to sing a song? I'm thinking about becoming a singer, Akka told him, and all 3 girls started singing. Zia grabbed his spare earplugs and put them to his ears. Guy and Ghosty were walking down the street, headed towards the bar. Guy had a performance to do. As they were walking, they heard a scream. Looking at each other, they headed towards the direction and saw a woman being mugged by a thug with a gun. Balling his fist, Guy ran towards the crook. Guy, wait! Ghosty called as Guy grabbed the thug by the shoulder, punched him across the face, causing him to drop his gun. The guy tried to fight back, but Guy blocked his punches, flipped him and kicked him across the face, knocking him out. Dusting himself off, Guy walked over to the woman to see if she was okay. So he smiled and hugged him, and then left. Guy, we should really call the authorities right now. Ghosty had told him as Guy rolled his eyes and walked away. That guy will be out like a light. Plenty of time for the cops to find him, Guy told Ghosty as he ran to the other man to catch him up. Guy, I swear, this type of thing will get you killed. Hey there, it's not as bad as you'd expect. See, told you, Jetman theme. Told you, the Gotcha Man theme works every time. Guy and Ryu were at the bar, both drinking warm milk as Ryu was looking through a catalog for rings. Ryu? Geki said as he looked over him. Ryu just smiled and said, Oh, me and Kiori's 1-year anniversary was coming, and she's really a great girl. Sometimes I find myself thinking about us going further with our relationship. Like marriage? Geki asked him, while all Ryu could do was grin. Burai was in the lapless room, looking rather puzzled that his candle hadn't seemed to melt since he had been out. Clothus turned to the audience and winked. Okay, that was clever and heartwarming. It was sunset Sky Campus. The 2 teams stood in front of each other nodding. Well, I guess this is it, Ryu said as he looked at Geki. Goodbye. Goodbye. It was nice meeting you all, Kiori told him. Ghosty and Guy clasped hands and shook. As Raita and Guy, Tien smiled and winked at Akko, as he looked down uncomfortably. Me and Kiori hugged, and Ryu and Geki shook hands. Zyurangers departed and headed to the Zara machines. Hey, Zyurangers, Ryu called. Do a good job protecting the Earth, alright? The Zyurangers just nodded, hopped on their bikes and sidecars, and took off into the sunset. The end. This was pretty decent. If this was an actual versus movie, I would put it into the middle ground. But what can you expect? I find when my favorite team teams up with a team that I don't like, the crossover movie turns out to be not as good as it could be. Please see Time Ranger and Go-Go 5 for my opinions on that. But overall, this did play out like a typical crossover film. We had the teams meet. We had the teams split up and face off against their independent monsters. We had exploration of both their powers. We had their techniques used. And we had their characters compared. We even had a short fight between the teams, but it wasn't like, you know, how some people want their first scenes to go. Look at you people who actually want Batman and Superman to fight. You know who you are, and I know what you did. But they were under mind control, and after it was done, they decided to move on and do what they do best. I do have a problem with Tronza, though. I mean, while I'm glad Tronza got some closure for his fights and scenes, mainly due to the fact that I've always felt like Tronza had probably the worst fate of any general of any Sentai I've ever seen. While most Sentai generals get to die or redeemed, he got lobotomized and went insane. That felt so horrible. I kind of wish he had something more to him. So I am glad for this. On the other hand, if you've seen Tronza, the guy doesn't have a human bone in his body. So I don't believe that a little boy would be enough to convince him. I personally would have loved it if he actually went for the kids himself and wanted to kill the kids to destroy Frankie himself, and just point out to Bandora that he cares nothing about her own feelings, and see how Bandora would have reacted. I probably would have liked that, because that is actually something Tronza would do, because we all know Tronza's a bastard. I also love how this story just felt so good. It was just a fun little side story. Well, that was one down, thousands more to go. See you next time.